So I'm just going to share my screen with you guys and just let me know that you can see everything. So if you can see this, guys, just put your hands up if you can see this. Awesome. And David, you can see it. Okay, cool. So what we're going to cover is how you can avoid running a hope marketing business, right? And that's really the key topic of this training. Now, if we just dive into who's this for, this is mainly for personal trainers in commercial gyms. However, there could be some of you that are in studios or working outside of mainstream gyms. Maybe you're doing some kind of mobile PTing as well, which is totally cool. And there's probably going to be some things in here that are going to help you as well. And there's going to be a Q&A at the end and you can ask some questions, but it is really mainly for personal trainers in commercial gyms. And two groups of people that we're going to be looking at today. So just have a think about these two groups of people here and which one kind of relates to you, because you could be coming into this at different stages, right? So number one is those who are kind of struggling to get enough clients and make a decent level of income. So you're kind of maybe starting out, or you've been doing it for a while and you're just not getting the clients that you want to get. And you feel like there's something a little bit missing in your business, right? So that's the first group of people. And then the second group of people would be those who have got a good amount of clients, but you still want more. Maybe you've been doing this for a while and you want to speed up the process of getting more clients and you want to get them quicker, right? Because there's always a faster way to do things. And a lot of my clients come to me at different stages. Some are newbies, some have been in the industry for 5 years, but everyone's looking for a faster way to do something. So those are the two groups of people. And just think about what kind of category you're in. And we're going to cover those two groups of people. And then at the end, what I'm going to do is, this is probably going to last about 20 minutes, this particular slideshow and training. And then at the end, we're going to dive into a Q&A where we can open the floor and anyone can ask any questions about the slides or their business or what's going on. And we've got a couple of my clients in here as well. Chris is here, Josh is here, and they can give you some first-hand experience about what they've been doing to really help themselves build their businesses successfully. So you can get an opportunity to speak with those guys too, okay? So 20 minutes of slides and then probably about 10, 15 minutes at the end of Q&A, and you can ask any questions. So if you think of anything, just jot it down on a piece of paper, because I can't actually see everyone now. So if you wanted to say something, I can't really see who wants to ask a question. So just reserve those to the end. So let's just dive into what we're going to look at. Awesome. Technology sometimes. Okay, so what I'm going to reveal is why so many personal trainers struggle to find clients and get frustrated and don't make the money they want to make, right? And then we're going to dive into what you actually need to do in order to generate leads and clients and be fully booked and be a personal trainer. So there may be some of you in here that are struggling or frustrated and want to make more income. And I'm going to show you exactly what you need to be focusing on with some case studies in a mainstream commercial gym to get clients, okay? And hopefully my slideshow works. And at the moment, it's not working. So let's move this over here. And let's see if it lets me do it. Here are some points, right? Let's look at a typical day in the life of a personal trainer and see if any of these things resonate with you, okay? Because you're on the gym floor, you're going through the motions, and this is a typical day in the life of a personal trainer, right? You patrol the gym floor with kind of no real strategy, and you're kind of looking for those interactions with people, but you don't really know what to say or how to really take it to the next stage. Maybe you check social media for some kind of interest, or you do a couple of posts here and there, but it's not really generating you any interest, any business, and you're not really getting any leads or clients. And then where I see a lot of personal trainers get distracted as well is they spend time making websites, maybe on Wix, maybe on, what's the other one that you've got? You've got a couple of websites that you can build them on, but Wix is probably the main one that you've used, and you've created an awesome website. Potentially it looks great, but it's not really generating any leads for your business. And then you're looking out for these inductions or random emails. We know that the inductions are super hot leads. Everyone wants an induction. An induction comes, you know that's a great opportunity to get a client. So you're kind of waiting around and hoping they're going to come to you, right? Which is quite reactive. Or maybe you're waiting for a random email and you craft these perfect profiles and you stack them with qualifications. And it's kind of like a profile war, right? So you've got this wall of all these different trainers, and everyone's competing to stack as many qualifications as possible onto these profiles and hoping that someone sees your profile, resonates with it, and reaches out to you. But it doesn't generate a lot of leads because you're waiting for the clients to kind of find you on the profile, right? And you're relying on them to reach out to you. And a lot of these people quite nervous in reaching out to you to begin with. So it doesn't really generate a lot of leads. And really, it just feels like you're relying on hope, luck, and chance that the clients are going to come along, right? There's no control in the business. None of these things give you real control. There's no real strategy when patrolling the gym floor. Social media doesn't really generate you the leads and clients because more often than not, you've not got the right demographic, right? So you've not got the right audience in your followers who can come and train at that gym. So if you've not got people that are in a 3-mile radius of that gym and you're posting all day on social media, then you're speaking to nobody that's going to be able to buy your product and service. So you could be doing it all day long, but if you've not got the relevant audience, it's not going to work. Then the website thing, right? If you're not driving traffic to a website or spending a lot of money on SEO, to search engine optimization to get people to the page, it's just going to get buried on Google and no one's going to see it, no matter how flashy and fancy it looks, right? And then the inductions and emails, you can't rely on that. And then these profiles, that's not a great way to rely on business because all you're doing is competing with other people and just stacking more and more qualifications, which guess what, guys? Not a lot of people really care about. They don't really care about you and your qualifications. They care about, can they lose weight? Can they get fitter? Can they get healthier? So you're screaming about you, but they don't really care so much about your qualifications, more about what they can achieve in their lives, right? Now, why do most personal trainers run their business like this? Does anyone know? Because I've basically found the root cause of this entire problem, right? So Alina's like raising her eyebrows. I can't see anyone else's reactions. But what I want all of you to do now, what I encourage everyone to do is I want you to think back to your level 2, your level 3, and can anyone recall anything practical that has helped you get clients and generate leads in that training? No? Alina's shaking her head at the moment. I'm going to unmute you a second. Alina, can you remember your training?
Yeah, because it was just recent. Nobody said anything except that, people will come. Inductions, they didn't mention inductions and say, oh, you just show people around, but they never mentioned that it would possibly become your clients as such. That you should kind of push your business in a good way and say, oh, I can help you, like, speed up your process of losing weight or whatever. But not as such in terms of helping actually give you practical advice on how to get clients in the first place.
And guys, can you? I can see all you guys now. Can you relate to this? Does anyone remember anything practical that they showed you on how to build a business? Did they give you anything? Nothing, right? There's maybe a small little segment in there that maybe showed you a couple of things, maybe how to set up your company, how to map out a plan, maybe set up a website, right? But nothing real practical. And here's the thing, all you guys have already completed your level 3. And I met with a personal training company on Sunday and we were looking at training their students because we're going into a partnership with them. And they're telling me that they're creating a new module to go in the level 2 and level 3. And so I thought, okay, cool. They're going to do something about this. And then when I saw it, it was the same stuff that doesn't generate leads and clients. It's literally just generalized business just to tick a box and say that they've got it in the program. But I can guarantee you it is not going to get you leads and clients. And this is the big problem, guys. All these programs, these level 2s and level 3s, they're great at showing you the product knowledge, the product delivery based stuff, but they don't teach you how to get the clients so you can give them the product knowledge. They don't show you how to get people to that point of delivering the service. And this is the big problem, right? You've missed out on the education that you actually need in order to get the clients in the first place. Now, let me just explain a little bit about me, because some of you know me, some of you are my clients, some of us have spoke before, some of us haven't, right? And I want to give you a little bit of a backstory into me so you know who I am and why I'm telling you all this stuff. So this is me. This is on my mum's um, mantelpiece or wherever it is in the living room. And this is my graduation, right? And I graduated in real estate and I started a new job, my dream job, just like you're doing. You're going into these gyms and it's kind of what you've always wanted to do. You're really excited and you start these companies. And I started this company. It was a property investment company. And I was really excited to get started. And then when I started this company, the first week went and kind of I'd met everyone. I enjoyed it. And then once that wore off, I kind of realized, okay, now I need to start getting clients. It was a really high pressure sales environment. So a month passed and I hadn't got any clients. And I was right, okay, maybe it's just the first month. I need to find my feet. So I carried on and another month passed and I got no clients. At this point, I was starting to get a little bit stressed, a little bit anxious. And I was like, okay, something's wrong here. And then another month passed and I didn't have much clients. I had one client. And at this point, I was underperforming and I was effectively terrible at sales, right? And I was getting a little bit anxious. And a lot of you guys will be able to relate to this because when you're not selling or doing what you need to do in order to build your business, then it feels a bit like you're underperforming and you start to get a little bit stressed out. Your motivation drops, your confidence drops. And then you kind of feel like, can I make this happen? Shall I quit? Shall I continue? And I was at a really low point in this business. And then this guy came in, this sales trainer, who was hired by the company. His name was Dermot Collins, and he's one of the top sales guys in the country who trains sales guys like me and other people and helps build out these sales teams in the businesses. He did one-on-ones and he got me in a room on my own. And he basically broke me down to within an inch of my mental life, literally. Just made me feel so small and insignificant. And what he did was he really just helped break down those emotions and barriers and challenges and help me see what was really going on in my business and in this sales process. And long story short, I came out of that room. It didn't revolutionize my sales, but after that, I kind of saw things from a new perspective. I started investing in programs and books and then surrounding myself by all the great salespeople in that company to then help me elevate my sales and get better at sales. And then over a space of a year, become one of the top sales guys, went out to Vegas, made loads of money, spent it on loads of dumb stuff, and then decided what was next. And at this point, I wanted to set up my own company, but we weren't quite ready, right? So I just want to show you this picture because this is me on the right, and this is my business partner, Dave. I think he's on the call here, but he's my buddy from university. And we basically set up a company for an American investor, and we built it to 7 staff. It was an e-commerce company. We sold loads of things, and we kind of cut our teeth of building a business properly on our own. So we spent 2 years building this business, and then we got to a point where, okay, how do we take this to the next level? How do we do something on our own terms? And that's where we set up this company, which is the one that you're involved in now. It's the Coaching Ignited company. And you're probably thinking, well, how have we gone from doing all that to now helping personal trainers build their businesses? Well, what we did was we fused our business and my sales experience, and we decided to stick to what we know and what we're passionate about. So me and Dave, we're always training together. We love fitness, we love coaching, and we've been training since we were 16 years old. And we really love the industry of coaching, and we use mentors and all sorts of things. So we started reaching out to our friends and family and coaches that we know and coaches that we didn't know. And we were like, okay, tell me about your business. How's it going? Like, how does it run on a daily basis? And what we quickly realized was there was people that were doing really, really well, but then the majority of people were just struggling and they couldn't get clients. They didn't know what to do. And so we just keep probing. We must have spoke to 100 trainers across the country. At this point, we'd not created any products and services. But what we did was we found all the pain points, all the things that are really stopping people from succeeding, all the challenges, all the obstacles, all the barriers. And then we went away and we basically crafted a solution that was a perfect fit to their problems because they effectively created it because we'd done all that market research. And that's how our company was born. And that's how we started helping these coaches build their businesses. So I just want to show you like what our guys are doing differently compared to what they were doing before. And I want to share one of my case studies of one of my clients, because this is a good example of what he was doing previously, because Matt was running a home marketing business. And a lot of you will be able to relate to this because it's a very similar story for everyone coming into the industry. And then afterwards, we're going to look at what he's doing differently now to really take control of his business. So when I first met Matt, I met him, he's at Urban Exchange Pure Gym in Manchester, where we live, right? And he was getting distracted by all the shiny objects like websites, business cards, and social media pages without the relevant audiences, right? And he was really avoiding approaching people on the gym floor because he was afraid of the fear of selling and being rejected. And a lot of you will be able to relate to this because I was scared of approaching people or making phone calls and potentially being rejected too. And the reason why Matt was scared of approaching and being rejected is because he didn't really have a proven sales process. He didn't want to get people to that point where he was taking them through a process that he didn't understand. And so he's fearful of hearing a no, and so he's avoiding it altogether. And this is common for most personal trainers. They avoid these situations because they fear that they won't be accepted and they'll be rejected, but it's because they don't have a solid sales process to make it work properly, right? And he had no plan and accountability in place. He was just going through the motions each day and just hoping that he could potentially find a client. And he really just lacked the confidence. And this was going on for a while. He came from Ballantyne's, he moved to Pure Gym. He must have been at Pure Gym for about 6 weeks and he still had no clients, okay? Now, can anyone relate to this? Is anyone kind of doing these things up here or thinking about doing these things up here? Or maybe okay, Chris, are you raising your hand there? Or maybe you're approaching people, or maybe you're not, but you fear approaching people or being rejected, or you don't have a proven sales process, or you don't just have any accountability in place. Can anyone relate to any of these things? Yeah. Okay, so let's look at the next bit. Because if you can't find leads or convert them into paying customers, then you don't really have a reliable business, because that's what it takes to run a business. You have to be able to find the leads and you have to be able to convert them. Otherwise, it's basically just a hope marketing business and you're just going through the motions each day. But let's look at what Matt is doing differently now compared to what he was doing before. Okay, so in terms of what Matt did to overcome relying on hope marketing, and again, going back to the point that this is for you guys that are in commercial gyms. Instead of focusing on all these random things outside, he then just stuck to generating 95% of the leads inside the gym. Why? Well, because that's where all the prospects are. Why would you look anywhere else but right in front of you? They're all motivated to some degree. They're qualified. They're already in the gym, and you can speak to them face to face, right? And you can build trust quicker than any other way of marketing. It's the number one way to do it. Trying to sell people over social media, via email, via text, it's difficult because you can't really have that face-to-face communication. So he focused 95% of his attention on generating leads in the gym, right? Then he learned how to communicate his value in a compelling way. So how to position himself and his service in a valuable and compelling way so people would effectively listen to him and want to book in for a taster session or a consultation with him. Then he took people through a proven sales process that made them want to sign up. So rather than just winging it every single time, he took them through a process that positioned himself as the expert, but also understood the value that they were looking for so that he maximized the chance of converting those people into a paying customer. Because the danger is you can get good at communicating your value, but then if you don't have a proven sales process, then you end up just giving away endless free taster sessions over and over again. No one signs up and like, well, what the hell's going on here? Just wasting my time. So you need to have that proven sales process in place. And that's what was one of the key things that he did. So he started increasing his leads, but then he started increasing his conversion. Okay. And then he squashed the fear of rejection. So he worked on his rejection He worked on some of the barriers that he was facing. He overcome that. And so he was able to approach people, generate the leads, and get them into a proven sales process where he could take them through and then convert them into paying customers. Okay. Now, if my slides work, I'll go to the next one, but it seems to be freezing up, guys. So just bear with me. I have to keep coming out of it and going back in. So there was one other thing that Matt obviously had, right? Accountability and support. Because we were able to work together, I could make him accountable and support him along the journey, because he could have done all this stuff on his own, but it could have taken him a long time to do it. And just like you guys, like if someone went through one of your training programs, you can do one of two things, right? You can give them a program and say, there you go, off you go. Or you could meet them on a consistent basis, hold them accountable, set goals and support them. Which one do you think is going to get the best results? Or which ones do you think is going to be faster for you and your clients? It's going to be when you support and make them accountable and help them in the process, right? And that was one of the key things that Matt had that really helped him achieve this. Now, after going through this process, obviously he was happier than ever. He felt great about coming into work each day. And people started to treat him with much more respect. He got known in his gym as one of the top performers and one of the guys that went on rent quicker than anyone else. And they were asking him how he did it. And it made him more confident about the future of his business. And so he went from 0 clients to 11 clients by making those changes and just focusing on the right things and not getting distracted by all these shiny objects that don't get you clients. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail, right? Because there's going to be some fears that are holding you back, right? To avoid relying on hope marketing, you need to identify the fears that are holding you back from experiencing huge success. You've all got fears. I've got fears. All my clients before they came on with me, they had fears. Everyone's got fears. You've got fears of failing. You've got fears of investing. You've got fears of working hard, making sacrifices, being successful, being vulnerable, relying on other people, being in the spotlight, or you fear change. You're going to have some fears that are going to stop you from taking certain actions in life. But what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail with these things? And let's look at fears for a second in another way. Unsuccessful personal trainers struggle to go for it because they fear what could happen, right? They avoid it because they fear what the outcome could be. Whereas these successful personal trainers who do really, really well, they go for it because they fear what could happen if they don't do it. So they don't want to miss out. They want to seize the opportunities. They want to take advantage. And that's why they're successful. And those are the two separate people. Now, I want you to think which one of those relates to you more. Are you fearful about what could happen if you made an investment or made a leap or made a change? Or are you going to feel bad if you didn't make a change or an investment and you missed out on potentially what could have happened in your life and business? And another point I want to make, because this is a great quote from Jim Rohn. And a lot of you have heard this because it's a very common quote, right? You are the average of the 5 people that you spend your time with. And Alina's nodding her head. She obviously likes that quote. And I just want to say to you guys, are you surrounded by people that are helping you grow? Are you surrounded by people that are supporting you in this journey to improve your businesses and your quality of life? Because you need to be surrounded by the right people if you want to succeed at anything in life and business. If you're not, then you'll stay in the same place. Good example of this is all the personal trainers in the staff room who are not really where they want to be, right? And they all just chat amongst themselves about useless shit that gets you no closer to getting clients. And it's a trap, but it's a comfort zone. It's a comfort trap. Being in that staff room is a nice place to be, having a bit of camaraderie, a bit of banter, chatting about how difficult it is around Christmas time and or how many all these people coming in at January and they're going to leave in February, and just complaining, because misery loves company. But if you can surround yourself by much better and higher level people, then you're going to give your self the chance of really progressing in your life and business. So before we jump into the Q&A, I want to open up the floor to you guys who probably want to ask some questions, and there'll be a couple of you who can share some stuff. If you want to get around people who will support you in your journey and help you avoid all the guesswork and frustration and build a profitable business and make the income you want to make, then there's a link here for you. If you go to this link, so those of you on mobile, just write it down, but it's basically our website. But those of you on desktop, you could quite quickly get this up. And it's going to take you over to a form. Now, some of you are obviously some of my clients. Some of you have already had calls with me. But if you wanted to jump on and have a one-on-one chat about how we can achieve all these things and make your business much more profitable than it is, and so you don't have to rely on Hope Marketing, book on that call. And we can have a chat and we can talk about it, and I can explain in a bit more detail about what we do. But just a little bit of a caveat, and you guys know I'm super transparent in everything I do. Obviously, I've decided to go to Thailand next week. I'm doing some other events, and also we're working with a big personal training company to service all their students in April. So I'm only going to be taking on a limited number of one-on-one clients. But if you wanted to do that, why don't you get on a call? Let's have a chat and let's talk it through. People that have already had calls with me, just send me a PM and we can talk about the next steps as well. But what I want to do now is I want to open it up to the floor. I want to talk to you guys. Maybe you've got some questions. Maybe there's some things that you want to talk about, and I want to open it up to you. And let's get some conversation going.
Yeah, my advice is just don't rule anyone out. But let's think of it as, like I said, if my gym has 6,000 members and there's only 10 PTs, my maths is rubbish, but pretty sure that's like not even 1% or whatever it is. I don't even know.
Yeah, there's plenty, guys. Again, it comes down to the numbers. Like, if you're struggling to find clients in a gym with 6,000 members, you need to do something a little bit differently, because it's like easy once you know what you're doing, isn't it, Josh?
Yeah, definitely.
They're just sitting there, and no other personal trainer is really approaching them or
Just
making
waiting,
the effort. They're just sitting there and they need your help. And if you're actually not approaching these people, like I said this to you, Josh, you're doing them a disservice.
Yeah.
You're doing them a disservice, because you've got a great product, guys, and you can actually help people become fitter, healthier, and more fulfilled in their lives. And if you're not approaching or getting good at sales and taking them through a process to convert them into paying customers, then you're not going to be able to change their lives or have an impact. And so I say it to everyone, like, get it into your head that you're doing these people a disservice if you're not approaching them and you're not converting them into paying customers, because that's when the real work starts. It doesn't start when you go over and give them a couple of tips, because that's not going to change their life. You need to have them as clients, and that's why it's so important. I'm going to pull Chris in. Let me just unmute Chris. Chris, are you there, buddy?
Yes, I'm here, mate. Yes.
All right. Why don't you share some of the things that you're doing now that you weren't doing before that have had a big impact on your business? Guys, Chris is one of my clients. You can't actually see him, but...
No, I haven't got a camera, sadly. I'm using my computer. Doing my tax return at the same time.
Right. The fun stuff. I'm going to meet
right.
you, Josh. And then...
All right. So, well, listening in from, like, as a viewer to everything else, and probably everyone else in this call has probably been in the same situation to me, is we all overcomplicate everything. Everyone sat in this call, I can guarantee, unless they've worked with you or know a proven method, I've probably sat there with about 100 ways of how to do this and how to make more money, and none of them are working because they're building themselves a mountain that they can't climb. So my best advice to every single person in this call is simplicity is the key, and that is the aspect that should stick with not only your business and how you grow it, but also the fitness and training aspect of it. Like, you get more results with a client if you make them follow a proven method of calorie counting and being adhered to, as opposed to drop sets, supersets, going in a keto diet and all things like that. And it's the exact same thing with the business aspect. If you try, 100 different types of challenges and ways of gaining clients, then the turnover in terms of actually getting them is probably going to be rubbish. Whereas if you actually just go out there and, prioritize your time and say, I'm going to speak to this person, that many people, and I'm going to do it every day. You might not get anything today, but doing that every week in about a month's time, you'll be in a completely different situation. So my best advice is definitely simplicity is the key.
What were some of the challenges that you faced before? Because you're probably able to relate to a lot of the stuff that we talked about earlier on. Like, when you first started, what were the kind of motions that you were going through in your business?
Okay, so the big two for me was the first one was the failure aspect of it. So not being able to build the business to the level that I thought I wanted to or could do, and watching other trainers, especially in gyms like Pure Gym, when you've got up to 17 personal trainers and ego's a big game, you do take a hit as time goes by if you see one person growing at a rate quicker than you. So my biggest was, am I made to do this? Am I good enough? Do I need to stop and do something else? Which obviously I didn't want to do, but at that time you're not really thinking about anything else because you just see yourself as not succeeding. And then the biggest one, like 9 million personal trainers, is the fear of approaching people. Like, for whatever reason, you can teach a class of 30, you can do an induction, you can speak to someone on the phone, you can reply to an email, you can say hello to the postman at your door, but you can't go up to someone on the gym floor and try and get them down a sales process. For whatever reason, fear of rejection, fear of them saying no, making up this horrible story or drama in your head that it's such a big thing, a lot worse than it actually is. And once you've done that for so long, you build yourself an invisible wall that you can't get over, and you've got to find a way of going around it or breaking it down, because if you don't, you will never get any better.
And I guess everyone can relate to that because you're all going to face it. Everyone's going to go through those things, right? Everyone's nodding. Chris, have you started yet? No. I'm going to bring you in, and I want to hear your thoughts on what we've been talking about, if that's okay. Cheers, Chris, my other Chris. Really,
no worries, mate. No worries.
Hey, man. How much? You're doing well right now, right? How many clients are you up to now, Chris? Oh, he's gone. Okay, I'll bring in the other Chris.
I'm here.
How many are you up to now?
I'm up to 16.
16 clients.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I've gained, let's see, 6. I've gained 10.
10 clients. Awesome,
yeah.
Dude.
And I want to keep going. So yeah, ask me again in a month and see where I'm at.
Well, hopefully you're getting into the elite program with the big boys.
Oh, aye. It's on my board. It's one thing to do.
All right, buddy. I'm gonna mute you, and I'm gonna bring in Chris, and just have a little chat with Chris to see what Chris is thinking. Chris, or the other Chris, have you just muted yourself?
Yeah. I'm back on.
Okay, awesome. Hey, buddy. So what's going on? Have you started as a personal trainer yet?
Yeah. I've been a personal trainer now for about a year. And when I started off, I think my first month I gained like 300 quid. And I was sat there like going from an accountant's wage into like 300 quid a month, like, oh shit, this is a bit wank. But you gotta do it, and so I took a big leap, to be honest with you, mate. So that first month, 300 quid. Next month I earned 800 quid. So it started building quite nicely.
Nice.
But it was pretty easy. At that point, my confidence was sky high. My client retention is quite nice. I keep clients for quite a long period of time. The only time that they really leave is if something's occurred, or, for example, one guy moved to Korea for a job, and he was a good 3-4 times a week that I'd train him. So that's like 100 quid a month, 100 quid a week down now. And then everything just sort of landslided a bit down with people moving cities, moving countries, things happening in their life so they couldn't afford it anymore. And I just want to get myself back up to that confidence level and back up to that sort of built up again. But I'm sort of struggling at the moment, and I don't understand what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah.
So everything that you said, I can sort of relate to, where I am just sort of going out there and hopefully someone will chat to me. Like, fingers crossed that this person wants a personal trainer or whatever. And I'm like there chatting absolute crap to them, like learning a bit about their life. They ask me some questions, I talk to them, and then I try and put some information across, but then I never actually close the sale and sort of get it like bang on.
Yeah.
Put that in front of them. It's always a case of I learn about them, they learn about me, they know I'm a personal trainer, they know I know my stuff, and then I wander off.
Yeah. And nothing happens.
Yeah, so I just sort of, that closing off, I think that's what I think anyway, is where I really suffer. But like having someone there to turn around and be like, oh no, this is where you suffer, and I'm like, oh yeah, makes sense now. All of a sudden it can make a whole lot of difference to your life, to be honest.
Yeah. So how many clients are you at now? And thank you for being so open. Like, that's about these spaces, because everyone's going through the same thing. Like, none of you are unique, guys, in terms of what happens in your business and the challenges you face or things that can happen. Any one of you, even if you're doing pretty good, James, you're doing pretty good right now, aren't you? But overnight, boom, you could get hit, 5, 10 of them go, and then you go into panic station and you go, holy shit, now I need to get more. Oh, here we go. He wants to interject. Come back to you in a second. Go on, buddy.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt Chris there, but it was just a case in point of, someone approached the reception. I was there. I was then able to entice them into the taster. That taster then led to booking on for a monthly package of 8 sessions. And with 3 sessions to go, she's decided that it's not for her. And I've actually been pushing her too hard. And that was a bit of a kick because I thought up to that point, everything I've done with all my clients was just working. That's why they keep on going. But I suppose it just isn't for everyone. And it's just one of those things where, if they do sort of, decide it's not for them, then you have to start thinking about refunds and things like that. So there is always that you can't ever be too comfortable.
Yeah,
it's
a good point.
My head's at with it at the moment. So, I have done really well. I've actually been quite fortunate that the gym I'm at, there is like a big main desk there, and I've made it a personal mission to sort of be really friendly and engaging and almost part of the family from the get-go with everyone that works behind that desk. So if there is anyone that thinks about PT, hopefully I'm one of the first names that they think of. And that's kind of just an extra lead generator right there. But yeah, no, I'm always sort of thinking about that person who might not want to continue, and you can't just allow yourself to be comfortable. That's just the point I'm trying to make, I suppose.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's easy to get snared by the comfort. And like you were saying a second ago, Chris, you're building up, everything was going well. And then all of a sudden, it changes, right? And you go, oh, I'm not where I thought I was. And it's changed all of a sudden. And then you go into a panic mode. And then you start questioning everything. And then it starts playing on your mind. And then that causes you to do worse and worse because it comes across in how you speak to people. And you avoid certain situations because your self-esteem starts to change as well. But the cure to all those things every single time is having a system to be able to generate leads on demand. Once you can be abundant in leads, you can just kick back and be comfortable. Josh will say it now. Josh was panicking before, but now when he knows how to generate leads, he doesn't really care if someone leaves. But I think you've got to be in a position where you're in control. If you're not in control, you'll care when they leave. If you're in control of how to generate business, you'll be okay. Josh is going to interject, but James, you want to say something else?
I was just going to say for people like Chris, if you ever are worried, just think, you've got maybe that one person or whoever that decides it's not for them, but over the course of a week or a fortnight, you've got another 3 or 4 people that have decided to go along with you.
Yeah, 100%.
Don't let that one sort of deter or detract from that tunnel vision. Is the only thing I was going to add. That's all.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate that. Josh, what did you want to say?
I was going to say, I found with quite a lot of clients, is PT becomes a luxury for them instead of a chore. So a lot of them will come, see what it's like, and they really enjoy it. I got a few clients now who've reached their goal. I got one in particular. I was meant to have her tonight. She's had to cancel because she's not very well, but she's getting married in 2 weeks. So she's going to South Africa to get married. Now her goal was she was in good shape anyway, but her goal was to slim down, tone up. And she's got to the stage now, her abs are coming through. So she's like, listen, I'm more than happy. But she has reached her goal. She doesn't need PT anymore, but she wants to carry on because it's a luxury for her. She enjoys it. It gets her to the gym. I found for every one client I lose, I gain 2 or 3 because I'm at that stage now. I'm confident with doing this course with Alex. If I lose one, I just okay. I've lost one. I lost one yesterday. It came to the end of a block. She said, listen, I can't afford it anymore. So I was, that's thing of no worries at all. If you ever want to get back in contact, you got my number, and it's still a lead. They still could come back in the future. But I'm at that stage now where I don't panic. I just say, okay, that's fine. I'll go out and get another one later. And that it's not arrogance. It's just being that confident that you can literally just. I know if I sometimes I'm sat in the staff room. I've been out PTing for 4 or 5 hours. Sat in the staff room, chilling out, have my food. And I just think, yeah, I'll go try and get more clients now. And once, like Alex says, once you know that sales process is so simple, it's you won't. The amount of tasters I've had and leads I've had that haven't gone on to PT. I went through my contacts the other day. I've got something like I need to delete some of them, but I've got something like 60 or 70 contacts of clients and leads. And if all of them went, I'd be like, I wouldn't have any time in the week to do anything else. But I'd be, I'd be pretty. I'd probably retire. But it just shows how many people you can get in contact with. Like I said, honestly, once you get that sales process, it's because again, I was at that stage where I'd see a certain person go to a certain PT, and I'd be like, well, why did they choose them and not choose me? What's wrong with me? But I think the first or second week I was with Alex when I started the course, there was this one girl who'd been coming to my classes for about 2 weeks, and she was severely overweight. I wanted to approach her, but I didn't know what to say. So I was like, I'm not going to approach her. I feel rude. I almost feel rude going over and offering PT because what are you trying to say? So I was like, I'm not going to say anything to her. I then started the course with Alex. He went through the sales process with me. She signed up a week later, and she's still my client today. And that was back in September, November time.
You didn't offend her, did you?
No, I hope not. I don't think so. Anyway, she's still with me. So.
All right. James wants to interject. Let me just. I think James, you're unmuted anyway.
Yeah, I am still unmuted. I just didn't want to interrupt Josh's monologue there. So
appreciate it.
Oh wait, I just muted you. There you go. Sorry, go.
That was just to say. It just came to me whilst Josh was talking, just asking about the member that said they couldn't afford it anymore. Would you, and Alex obviously add in as well, but Josh, would you just sort of let that person just you have my number, come back to me, or did you ever think maybe, well, let's maybe talk about something that you can afford to do to keep it all going, or do you perhaps think that's maybe it's a bit too far? And
I had actually with that girl. The one, well, she's not even overweight anymore, so I can't even say that. But she around Christmas time, she said, "Oh, my insurance is coming out in January for my car. It's going to be a lot. I can't really afford it." I just had to sit down with her, and I just said, how do you feel? How do you feel PT's been for you so far? She's like, oh yeah, because I get all my clients to take like before and after pictures and everything. So. I was looking through them with her, and she said, "Yeah, it's gone really well for me. I'm still nowhere near my goal." And I kind of just said, "Well, you kind of answered your own question there in terms of like you want to carry on, but I'm not sure if I can afford it." But it's like I said earlier, you just got to see where your priorities are at. Like, for example, if a client's, and again, I've had it. I don't really have a client that does it anymore, but they'll say I can't really afford PT. I'm like, oh, no worries, is everything okay? Like, yeah, I just, I'm just, like they'll say their diet's rubbish, so they'll buy like loads of takeaways throughout the week. And I'm thinking, well, if you can afford those, why can't you afford PT? And again, and this is where it comes into, it's a luxury for people. Some people just don't want it. You can't help everyone, unfortunately. I've tried it and it doesn't work. Some people just don't want helping. But I think it's, some of them, like I said, some of them will just, there's no talking them out of it. They just won't want it. But it's those ones where, like I said, I had to sit down with her. I wasn't so much trying to keep her on as a client. I had to sit down, see if everything's okay. And she just said a few things. I just more or less said, well, you have answered your own question. It does something you want to carry on. It's like with, I heard it before, it's like with when you get an MOT on a car. You pay all this money to MOT your car, so your car's all, your car works and it's not going to fall apart. So why would you not do the same for your body? Why wouldn't you look at, because this is the only body you've got. You can't, you can switch cars, you can't switch bodies.
I'm sold, Josh. I'll sign up.
It's true that, yeah, it's that's just the way I look at it. Like I said, it's not for everyone, but the ones that do stick on, will be there in the long run. Because I've had a few who, I've had a taster with a few people, and then these people have had tasters with other people, with other PTs in my gym, because they want to like see where everyone's price is at, see who's the cheapest, and you just know they're not going to hang around. Because if you're in it for the cheapest PT, you're not in it for the good reasons. And it's like what Alex said with, you've got to invest in yourself to basically get the best out of yourself. Like if you see the most expensive program and the cheapest program, you're going to want to probably go for the most expensive because you're going to get the most out of it.
Yeah. In the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's all about skin in the game. All right, guys. So, wow, that was over an hour.
That's probably just me talking.
You're a bit of a rambler, but you're a good guy, man. I love you, man. I'm proud of you. You've done so good, and I love to see where you are now compared to where you were. So, yeah, man, I'm really happy for you. So hopefully
Cheers.
everyone got value from what Josh has been saying and what Chris said and what everyone chipped in. Hope that was really valuable for you guys. So we will leave it there. But everyone that's got calls with me, Chris, you've got a call. If you want to bring that forward, just drop me a PM. If you want to chat sooner, we don't have to wait till next week. James, you're doing pretty well, aren't you, at the moment? But if you need anything, PM me. Chris,
I think I am. So yeah.
Yeah, you think well, that could change. If you want extras, like you know where to find us. Chris, you're doing well. Alina, if you need me, jump out. And then all you other guys in the group, thank you so much for coming on. I hope you've got a ton of value from this. And cheers, Kosh. I didn't see you there. That's one of my other clients. He's doing well now. But we'll leave it there, and we'll speak soon, guys. But really appreciate you coming. Hope you all found it useful.
Cheers, everyone.
All right,
See
see
you
you later,
soon.
guys. Speak soon. Bye.
Bye.